heard Coach say that he ain't playing the second half. What do you mean he ain't playing the second half? Is he hurt? Nah. He has pulled himself. NFL playoff weekend. This is the best weekend of football. I honestly think there isn't a better weekend, Mike. I mean, you know, you have the college football playoff. Who cares? You have the NFL playoff weekend, especially the divisional round. My favorite weekend of sports all year because these games, they're always good. Now, occasionally you'll get a blowout, but realistically, it's not. Usually you see, like, the Pittsburgh Steelers-Ravens. You have it, like, a rivalry in the first round of the playoffs. I love it. And not only that, the game isn't extended like it is in the Super Bowl where it's hard to actually watch the game if you like football. This is the best weekend of sports. We are going to take you through it. Let's go through the Saturday matchups, Mike. Why don't you take us through that?
Yeah, so does anyone believe in the Houston Texans at all at this point? Like, are they even like a relevant team in this field? I feel like absolutely no one is taking them seriously, and I don't know that they've given any reason. They sort of defaulted their way to a home playoff game. Dirk, do the Texans stand a chance against the Chargers, or is Harbaugh on his way to a divisional round?
No, I like the Chargers in this, and I've liked the Chargers all season, mostly because of their defense. They're a top 5, you know. It depends, because they play the NFC South, right?
Yeah.
So let's taste top 10 just because of the opponents they played. But top defense that has played really well this year. On offense, you have Dobbins coming back. I don't know exactly how he's going to perform. That's a tough injury to come back from. But in the absence of that, they've still been doing pretty well. Now, it's not like the Steelers who have lost 4 straight. They're coming into this with some momentum. And I really like where they're at. More importantly, like you have already mentioned, you're seeing the other side. You have tons of injuries plaguing the offense. They have an offensive line that has been atrocious this year, and C.J. Stroud having a sophomore slump in the season. However, they're still playing decent ball. If they can establish the run, which I don't think they'll be able to very well against that defense, I think that they'll have Houston have a chance, and they are playing at home. I think Harbaugh wins this one. This one will be close, and I think it's a good.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick, Dirk. I think one guy you didn't bring up for the Chargers is a very fine young lad, McConkey. And yes, we talked that. I want to remind you, we began the season, and you had a prophecy that the Chargers and Broncos were going to be fighting it out for the toilet bowl this year. And now both are in the wild card round.
I didn't realize how bad the NFC South was. I didn't realize how bad the Browns were being. And when you get like 5 wins based off of crap teams, what do you want me to say?
It aged almost as well as the prediction the Raiders would be challenging for the division there.
Again, Mike.
Here's the thing, Dirk. I'm going to agree with you and take it a step further. The Chiefs have to be very careful when they play the Chargers in the next round because LA could upset Kansas City on the road. Let's go to the next one, Dirk. And I believe the next Saturday matchup is
on that Chargers. Herbert fully healthy? I think that's my big. That's my big
wild card. Yeah. Will he stand up to his Mark Wahlberg looks in this game? Second one, Dirk. Pittsburgh and Baltimore split the season series, but headed into this one, a very noticeable lack of momentum for the Steelers. The Ravens, double-digit point favorites, is shocking in a wild card round playoff game, but in this one, potentially appropriate. Dirk, can the Steelers do anything with Russ? Is Pittsburgh going to get back into this? And what does this mean for Tomlin as the Steelers get, pounded? What does this mean if the Steelers get trounced by the Ravens in this first round?
Okay. I actually like the Steelers in this matchup because they're going to get overlooked. Now, also, you got to remember Lamar's struggles in the postseason. Also, Zay Flowers, how is he doing with health wise? So you look across, and I think that there are some cracks, some chinks in the armor for the Ravens. Realistically, Ravens are the favorite here. They'll probably go through it. Just me as a Browns fan hates the Ravens, hates the Steelers. I can care less who wins this matchup. But Tomlin's not going to be in trouble no matter what happens out of this. I think you see as Steelers fans, a lot of them saying, Denver, you guys were crazy. Why would you let him go? Well, I think you're seeing why Denver moved on from Russ and had urgency to move on from Russ. Russ isn't the key to victory here. And I'm actually wondering, is Tomlin going to make a move to Fields? Because they had a winning quarterback with a great rating and, good. I mean, the stats weren't bad. Now, it was low-scoring games, but it's not about the style, about how you achieve the result. It's the result that matters. And I think there's a chance you'll see Fields in this game, and it might not be as scripted as everybody's calling it right now.
It's an interesting possibility, actually, Dirk. I think it's possible he comes in even on a periodic basis to throw a wrinkle in the look that they're giving the Ravens.
You can't count the Steelers' defense out of this.
No,
I mean,
tough defense.
Postseason struggles for Lamar. There's been fumbles. There's been interceptions. I mean, at one point before last postseason, wasn't he like 1-7 touchdown to interception ratio in the postseason? He had struggled to win games. I mean, I'm not saying that's going to happen this year, but there's things that it's not a surety as I think people are talking about it right now, and I think it's going to be another 3-point game.
It could be. I think it could be a close game, Dirk. I don't know that past performance is going to be a predictor, though, here because Lamar has Derrick Henry in the backfield.
So good.
You have a power run game. You have the capacity to do the zone read. It just takes so much pressure off Lamar. I don't see the Ravens losing this game. And I still think Baltimore, if they're able to shore up the defense, and it's looked much better the last 4 or 5 weeks, I think Baltimore is the prohibitive favorite out of the AFC, even if they have to go on the road and do it. So now, let's go on to the next ones. And Sunday kicks off with the Broncos and the Bills. Dirk, up in Buffalo, what are we looking at? Is this a sketchier game for Buffalo than it looks like on paper? Take it away.
Absolutely, and if it's a low-scoring game, if this is under 17 points, Denver wins this one. Now, I think that probably goes without saying that I am unconfident in the Bills' defense as much as I'm unconfident in the Broncos' offense. This is a perfect matchup. It couldn't be better, right? You have, the best defense in terms of sacks and keeping quarterbacks in the pocket against the team that has the best scrambler in the NFL, if not maybe the best quarterback in the NFL, who's playing right now. It's got to be between him and Lamar Jackson, right?
Right.
And I like the matchup. I think it's, again, another one that's going to be closer than people think. Now, I question the Broncos' ability to score. I know that they just got done playing the scout team from Kansas City. However, in previous, against the Bengals, I really thought Nick struggled. And he, just as he makes an incredible throw and makes an incredible decision, the next play, I'm scratching my head at what the hell he saw and what passing lane he saw. So I don't know that they have the defense to pull it off. I don't know that they'll have the scheme to really confuse them as much. You have Milano coming back. Is he playing at a high level? I just don't know, Mike. And frankly, Von Miller is going to be the X factor there.
It's actually a very interesting,
sacks and put pressure on.
I think you bring up a good point, Dirk. I think I've watched Denver closely every game, of course, this year, and I do think there are times where Bo Nix, you look at the stat sheet, and it's actually better than it was. I mean, an incredibly impressive throw, 67 yards through the air against the Bengals. But that throw aside, and then, of course, he gets a sort of miraculous touchdown to Mims at the very end. But he really did struggle in that Bengals game. And so I do...
You know what happened in overtime?
Right. I mean, it's just, there's been this herky-jerkiness to the Broncos offense that makes it tough to trust. With that said, here's why Denver has a shot in this game. Patrick Surtain erases people. And he will erase Amari Cooper in this game. And the Broncos' edge rushers are very athletic. They can keep containment. Zach Allen might be an all-pro on the interior push. Josh Allen struggled against this Broncos defense a year ago, and it's better this year. So I think there's reason to believe Denver is going to keep this close. But I think, as you pointed out, Buffalo's defense could be tough in this one, too. Allen is still Josh Allen. I think he pulls through some late-game heroics, but it's going to make the Bills fans sweat a lot. Buffalo in a very close one.
See, I'm with you, Buffalo, but I got it by 10.
You got it by 10. I've got Buffalo, let's call it Buffalo by 8, but it's going to be a late score that puts it there. So, Dirk, we'll go to the next ones. Not 100% sure in order of operations here, but I know we've got Philly and Green Bay on the table as well. The Eagles, Dirk, come into this one Jalen Hurts coming out of the concussion protocol. I don't think it's likely Jalen Hurts is on the sideline for this one. I'm pretty sure Jalen Hurts is going to be on the field, and when he's been on the field, that Eagles offense looked pretty much unstoppable. They were rolling against the Commanders until he went down. Obviously, a 2,000-yard rusher in Saquon Barkley. Do the Packers have a chance there?
I don't like the way the Packers have been playing. I really don't. They really snuck their way into the playoffs and kind of rode the momentum from early season to carry themselves in. Because of the downturn towards the end of the season, they're having to go to Philly, which is not the ideal matchup, nor is it really what they want. Now, Packers roster is great, and they've had some more relevance from Wicks and Dobbs and some others that have been contributing on the offense. But again, Love has been in and out this season with injuries and dealing with that. I don't like this. I don't like this matchup whatsoever for the Packers. I really like how Philly's been playing. I really like that you have the likes of Saquon, who seems to have just been the panacea for all the ills on the offense there. The question is going to be, does Sirianni screw this up with the play calls?
Well, that's obviously a wild card there. I think if the Packers have some hope too, they do have Josh Jacobs, a very good running back at their disposal as well. So you're going to have to pound the rock and try and grind it out. With that said, I just don't think, given how much talent the Eagles have on the outside, given Hurts' own capability of running, I don't think you can bottle Barkley up for a game. It's just not possible given all the other options, and he's too much of a home run threat. I think Saquon gets off to a slow start. He's got 30 or 40 rushing yards in the third quarter, and then he breaks off an 80-yard touchdown, and all of a sudden the game is wide open.
Well, did you see it happen? Week 16, did you watch that first half of the Philly game? I mean, I just was scratching my head of, like, why aren't you just establishing? Like, the play calls, it was like they were doing everything they could to not give Saquon the ball.
Yeah.
And those are the most frustrating games. So if they start loading in 8 in the box, the Packers start, dialing down, playing cover one, are they going to try and then say, okay, we'll check to some type of pass play, easy. And then you're getting away from what has made you so successful. You know what I'm talking about? So that's my worry. I still think, I give it a 70% chance that the Eagles win, and they win pretty well. I'm talking about a touchdown, not a spread.
I think Philly's going through pretty handily in this one, Dirk. It's possible. Jordan Love has been impressive to me. I think he's been a better quarterback than I thought he would be. I just don't think that. Again, another thing about Philly is that pass rush, that defensive front, really good as well. Philly is just solid all over the ball, Dirk. So I'm going to go with the Eagles there. Next up, Dirk, another one on the confidence meter. How confident are you in any team coming out of the NFC South versus a Washington team looking for its first playoff win since like 2004? A long time.
All right. I'm going with Washington in this. And it's not just because of the NFC South. I really like the way Jaden Daniels is playing. I like the fact that they have Eckler returning, so it gives a little bit more of a diverse type of running scheme. Robinson's a great running back, and that overall roster has really been just completely overhauled in the last year. Dan Quinn's having to play at a high level. The defense is playing well, and they come up in big moments. So they think they got everything going for them that they need. It's going to be about the experience factor. Whether or not a young roster like that can really get through the emotional roller coaster that are these first-round games. Baker Mayfield, is he going to wake up feeling dangerous? I mean, Mike Evans has been lights out again. Another 1,000-yard plus season.
Yeah.
They've been playing really, really well, and McMillan has come out of nowhere as just, a touchdown vulture.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be closer than I'm giving it credit for, but I think I'm going to give Washington the go-ahead in this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's tough. It's really tough, but I'm giving Washington the go-ahead in this.
I have this as my wildest game of the week, Dirk. It's not the best game because we'll get to that in a moment, but it's going to be the wildest one. And I'm with you, the difference maker here, and I've just seen this Bucs defense get torched too many times this year. Scary Terry takes over, and in the end, Mayfield's trying to play hero ball late in the game, and he's going to throw a pick. Washington takes care of business. I'm not dumping on Baker. He'll put up his stats, but it's just it's going to happen down the stretch.
Well, I mean, is Bucky Irving going to take over the game then?
He'll probably have a good game too. This one I'm thinking gets into the high 30s or even the 40s in scoring. Wild game.
Man, it is a shootout.
Wild game. In the Gulf of America, yes. Final matchup of the week, and this is very much the game of the week, I think, for most people. This is Minnesota as a team that finishes 14-3, going on the road to play the Rams, who I do have to point out did win on an absolute tear down the stretch in this, and it's very possible the Rams would have been a 14-3 kind of a team had they not had all the injuries early on. So, let's say this much. LA's record is deceptive, and it's not like this is that much of a... It's unfortunate the Vikings are in this position. I don't think it's a problem the Rams are hosting this game. This is a really good Rams team.
What a tough matchup.
Yeah.
And I got the Vikings losing in this one. Look,
yeah.
Even though they're going on the road, I think this Rams team is dangerous. Stafford has had everybody playing at a high level. And honestly, I think Kyrie Irving is actually the player to watch in this one. He's been solid all year.
Yeah.
And when he has some support to open up those running lanes, like Mike, I think he's going to have a 100-plus yard running game here, multiple touchdowns, and you're going to see the Rams really dominate that line of scrimmage. Look, I don't know about Sam Darnold, questioning it all year, and in jest, we had the prediction week 1, and that really turned out really pretty good. I don't know that they carry forward the magic, but if there's ever a city to do it in, I mean, we've seen it happen with quasi-backup quarterbacks as well.
Yeah.
No, I mean, even in the playoffs there, previously, I know Diggs isn't there, so, you can't have the announcers freaked out about Diggs, but I'm going with the Rams in this fight.
Yeah, I mean, as much as there are two scenarios in my head. Like, if the Chiefs get back to the Super Bowl and the Vikings play them, there's absolutely no way that the Vikings aren't winning that Super Bowl with Sam Darnold. It just fits the paradigm way too well. But, Derek, in reality, I think there's one team in the NFC that can take both the Eagles and the Lions, and that's the Rams. And it comes down to a couple of things. Obviously, you have incredible talent at the wide receiver positions. You have quarterback experience and a quarterback who has been there, won the Super Bowl now, is big in clutch moments. And then at the end of the day, when it comes down to coaching, if you have McVay in your back pocket, you have to feel good. I mean, even going up against the Lions, I'm still taking McVay in that coaching matchup. He is just established. He's been there twice. I think it gives the Rams a real edge. So I'm taking the Rams in a close one in this one, Dirk, to the heartbreak of Vikings fans. But still a possibility that a team that's never won gets to the Super Bowl and we'll get there next week.
Talk about a playoff game last week. I mean, that was a huge, stakes were there. You get to have a bye week, basically, if you win that game. Never happened before in the NFL's history, right? 14-win teams playing in the regular season.
Yeah.
Never happened. And what does Minnesota do? Lay an absolute egg.
Yeah, not a great showing. I
unfortunately think that, you can't ride that type of win into the postseason and have success.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, Derek. I think a big X factor for the Rams, too, is how well Jared Verse, the rookie, plays for them. He's been really, really good. It'll be fascinating to see if he has a big showing. Obviously, it's going to put pressure on Darnold. But
this one's for the Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to lose on a missed field goal.
God, I hope not. All right, that's Wildcard weekend.